Hi guys, it's me again for the second of today's videos, as we're on Solomon Islands, as Papua speaking as they were originally hunter-gatherers from New Guinea, as they were the only ones to kind of inhabit the Solomon Islands for thousands of years, until the Austronesian speaking Proto-Melanesians began moving in around 4000 BC. As a Lapita, people around 2000 and 1600 BC kind of arrived at the island. As Polynesians settled the outer islands such as Manel, Ballona and Atong, between 1200 and 1600 AD. As the first European visitors were Spaniard Don Alvaro de Mendana y Neira in 1568, who returned in 1959 to establish a settlement in Santa Cruz, and there was almost no further contact with Europeans until 1769, until the British captain Philip Carteret came upon Santa Cruz and Malta, as the British, French and American explorers followed. And then whalers began to arrive in 1798, and sandalwood traders visited from the 1840s to the late 1860s. And by the 6th of October 1893, Britain claimed protectorate over the archipelago's southern islands, which was extended in 1897 and again in 1898, while in 1899 British relinquished claims to Western Samoa, and in return Germany ceded the Shortlands, Choiseul, Tonga and Santa Isabel to Britain. Between 1871 and 1903, blackbirders, or also known as slave traders, took about 30,000 men from Solomon Islands to work on cane fields of northern Australia and Fiji. And in 1942, it kind of marked a turning point, as the Japanese seized the Shortland Islands. As 3 weeks later, Tulagi was taken by, as the Japanese began to build an airstrip on Guadalcanal. Guadalcanal's United States troops landed in Guadalcanal in August 1942, as Pearl Harbor happened some months earlier in December 1941, but was severely defeated by the Japanese naval forces. But left Rabaul in New Guinea to attack the US transports, but the US forces gradually gained the upper hand during the Guadalcanal campaign, as 6 naval battles were fought and 67 warships and transports were sank, many of them off the northern coast of Guadalcanal, and that area is now called Iron Bottom Sound, probably due to how many boats there are now, and around 7,000 Americans and 30,000 Japanese died and became like either on land or at sea kind of thing. And the Allies recovered all islands after the official Japanese surrender in 1945, as the town of Tulagai was gutted during the war, but the Quonset township of Hanoi replaced it as the capital, as the proto-nationalist post-war movement called Marching Rule sprang up in Malaita, opposed to the cooperation of the British authorities, whose rule had been restored after World War II, as Britain began to see the need of a local government, and the governing council was elected in 1970 as the British Solomon Islands Protectorate. It was renamed the Solomon Islands 5 years later, and independence was granted on the 7th of July 1978 as ethnic tensions started to fester, as the Goa'uld people from Guadalcanal resented the fact that the traditional land was being settled by migrants from Malaita, and in early 1999 the inevitable happened as a civil war broke out, as hundreds died in the fighting, and following mediation by Australia and New Zealand, the Townsville Peace Agreement was signed between the two factions in October 2000. However, what was initially began as ethnic tension descended into general lawlessness, as through 2000, as the agreement was initially signed in October 2000, and then the conflict was confined to Guadalcanal. Other things started happening elsewhere, including the Western province, where the whole country was crippled and traumatized, and the fragile economy then collapsed. And on the 24th of July 2003, the Ramsey, which was an Australian-led coalition of police from the Pacific Island states, was deployed throughout the whole country to restore law and order, but the progress was seriously undermined in April of 2006 when an election of the controversial Snyder Rooney as Prime Minister resulted in two-day rioting in the streets of Hanaira, and despite the presence of Ramsey, Australia flew in reinforcements for the Ramsey personnel, which brought calm to Solomon's capital. And in early 2007, a tsunami struck the western and Choiseul provinces as aid workers arrived en masse to help rebuild the local economy. Just a quick fun fact. In 1960, John F. Kennedy, yes, the JFK, invited two Solomon Islanders to his presidential inauguration in Washington, D.C. They were turned away because they spoke no English. But it's like but there was a reason why he invited them. As in 1943, the two islanders had rescued a 26-year-old JFK and 10 others survivors of the boat that was sunk by the Japanese during World War II. And yeah, the Solomon Island, moving on to languages, the Solomon Island is a country. Islands is a country that is located in the southwest region of the Pacific Ocean. The country is made up of two sequences of volcanic islands and coral atolls. As the country was colonized by the British and later gained its autonomy in 1978, and its capital city is Hanaira, a town that holds the title of the largest city, and that is located on the coast of the Guadalcanal. There are 76 individual languages recorded in the Solomon Islands, and of which 73 of these languages are still in use, while 3 have since become extinct. As 16 of those that are still in use are in trouble or slowly diminishing, as there's kind of the threat of extinction. Anyway, so about 70 languages are spoken in the Greater Solomon Islands archipelago, and there's a much bigger region as compared to the Solomon Islands itself. The official language is English, while common language, lingua franca, is Pidgin, as English is used in local media, in government transactions and some businesses, and despite English being the official language, it's only spoken about 2% of the population, and its lack of popularity means that it is not embraced as a language of instruction in schools. And as the larger proportion of the population are ethnically Melanesian, making the speaker of the language account for 85% of the population, as Polynesian speakers kind of form only a small minority of the population, as it's somewhere about 4% of the language and population, as they are found mainly in the southern parts of Brunel and Bellona and the Stewart Islands, also known as Sirkaina, Tikopia and Anuta, as the Micronesian language of Papua is common among immigrants of Gibraltars and Tuvaluans, as the speakers of the Papuan language attribute for 9% of the population, as the islanders have developed a pidgin that is specific to the Solomon Islands, a language that was derived from English, and this English Creole is a lingua franca, which means that the most of the population uses the language as a way of communication. And there are many other languages that haven't exactly mentioned as such, spoken within the country, as there's Chekeholo, as this is a language that has about 10,840 speakers at the last count, the article I got it from, which was 2017 I think it was, as the speakers are mainly found in Santa Isabel Island, key districts in Guarano coastal villages, as the language belongs to the Western Oceanic language group, as Are Are is spoken by about 17,800 and are found in the Malatai region, and the language belongs to the Southeast Solomonic family group. And there's many other languages. And there's several languages that are headed to extinction, and they kind of include the Wanalese Sign Language, Oroha, Tanma, Tanibili, Riri, Vano and Lavona. And that's languages for you. And moving on to Kakamora, it's kind of like seen as a hobbits of the Solomon Islands. And according to the stories of native Solomons, particularly many inhabitants of the island of Makera, and to a lesser extent Guadalcanal, the area is populated by beings called Kakamora, as they are characterized by about small height, generally being about 4 feet or 120 centimeters, roughly speaking anyway, as thick hair they're covered in thick hair and have odd ways of kind of communicating with each other, as the local claims that Kakamora lives in the jungle-covered interior of Makera as they look like the rain and the full moon, and they know how to kindle or light a fire, but they steal it from humans, and that for that one specific reason. And it's also said that they fear the colour white, and according to descriptions of 2 British anthropologists who did research in the Solomon Islands during the 1920s, a Dr. C. Fox and a Dr. F. H. Drew, they kind of said that Kakamora, in their own words, Kakamora are not quite human. They vary in height from 6 inches up to about 3-4 feet. Most of them are considered quite harmless, but sometimes they have been known to attack men, when they do so they use their fingers, which are finished with long sharp nails, which they stab. They wander about the forest eating nuts, ripe fruits, and opossums they are very fond of. They live in holes and caves and sometimes banyan trees. They have a language, but not like Melanesian languages. And yeah. But like many people have said that there's a lot of details of something that could be potentially be non-existent at this moment in time. So yeah, that's all my islands for you, and I'll see you soon. So yeah, au revoir for now.